was only 6 years old, and I loved pop music, and I was just insane about pop music in the late 60s, early 70s, and 7-inch singles to me were really the way in. And I was fascinated by the power of certain people to say so much within a short space of time. And the recorded noise could be so dramatic and so uplifting to me. I found it absolutely fascinating, this piece of little black plastic. When I was a child, I sang all day and night. I never stopped.
At first he meant no more than anyone to me.
I was obsessed with the music papers, and I began to buy them when I was very young. And I would read every single word written in the music papers. And all through the 70s, I was fascinated by the music press, and I wanted to be a part of it. And I did make a few job applications, and I was always rejected, so I'm pleased about that now, because if I had been accepted, maybe I'd still be just scribbling away somewhere, wearing really drab clothes.
Over the moor, take me to the moor, dig a shallow grave.
I became very, very shy in the late 70s, so I found it very difficult to think how I would possibly do it. And I thought to be on a stage and to sing, I thought you had to be very extrovert and to be very sexual and to be very wild and loud. And I didn't know anybody who was like me, who was singing on a stage. And rock music in the 70s was very, very, very aggressive. And so I found it difficult to imagine being on a stage, because I couldn't see anybody who resembled me doing it on a stage. And but I just knew I had to finally do it, and it automatically worked. We just started immediately, and it was just him and I. Then we had a bass player who left, and then we had a drummer who left, and then we got the other two Smiths, and they didn't want to join. They refused to join, and Johnny just made them join, really, in the end, but they didn't want to ever join. So it was always just Johnny and I with the Smiths, and initially Johnny's girlfriend, whose name was Angie. It was just the three of us, and we made the Smiths, really.
Everyone could be human cry.
There are no other songs in pop music, I don't think, as far as I know, which have the message of Mita's murder. I think it stands alone, and it's a strong song, and it seems to have worked in the past in the sense that it has inspired lots of people to stop eating animals. So I think animals need all the help they can get, because they have none. They have no rights, they have no protection. So I think animals need help. And I think animals look to humans for protection. And of course humans lead them into slaughterhouse, which is, to me, it's just like an image of leading children into a slaughterhouse. There's no difference. That level of trust and... But it's a very cruel world. I think she is the only remotely acceptable member of the royal family. And I think if this country has to have a royal family, then it should have her and nobody else. It shouldn't have Charles and all the nephews and nieces and dukes and duchesses. It shouldn't employ all those useless people. If this country really feels it needs a monarch and a figurehead, then it should be the Queen and nobody else. I don't see why people should have to pay for this vast amount of minor royals. It's just a waste of public money. And they're all dreadful people anyway.
The more you ignore me, the closer I get.
Even during the times when I have released an album and I have been with a record company, they're never involved in the tour. So it really doesn't matter to me whether I have an album or whether I have a record company. It makes absolutely no difference. The audience is there, and the relationship I have with the audience is because of me. and not because of a record company or because of something else. So I survive with no record label.
You're wasting your time. The more you ignore me, the closer I get. You're wasting your time.
Pop music is very dull, and I think most people who make music are very dull, and they don't have anything interesting to say, ever, ever, ever. And you read interviews with people and there's nothing interesting. And you can feel the journalists trying to make them interesting and willing groups to be interesting, but they're not. And you see people live and they're terrible. And they have all the hype and they win all the awards, but they're just dreadful.